right, so I have the pleasure today of being with Toby, and a long-term Star Wars CCG player. Love to learn more about that soon. But Toby, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, nice to meet you, Bill, and I'm looking forward to talking a little bit.
Wonderful, yeah. And I'm going. I think you're Rover on GAMP, I believe. So
Oh yeah, rovor, yeah.
yeah, cool. All right, so how did you get started in Star Wars CCG? Like, kind of, what's your origin story there?
So I'm actually a pretty recent player. I started pretty recently. I think I started playing in September of 2024, so September of last year.
Nice.
Um, I am it's sort of a long story, but I'll try to keep it as focused as possible, which is sometimes a problem.
Sure.
I'm from New Zealand. I grew up, liking Star Wars. I was as a teenager very into Star Wars, and in the early 2000s, when I was in university, I made some really really good friends who had like had been kind of at the core of the Auckland, New Zealand Star Wars CCG community in the late 90s and early 2000s. However, by this point, most of them had moved on from the game. I think there'd been some things had happened, and people had moved on to other games, especially board games. So, in getting to know these friends, I played a lot of board games with them. They're still really good friends today, but I didn't really catch that Star Wars CCG moment. In my high school, most of my peers played Magic, although I didn't really
Okay.
at all. I don't know if anyone actually even played. There was probably someone who collected the cards and maybe played it, but I didn't know of them. I didn't really know about the game until probably after it was done, after the Cipher lost the license. And so I knew about the game from my friends talking about it over the last couple of decades, but I'd never played it until my friend Chris, who organized the sort of informal kind of reunion of New Zealand Star Wars players last year, invited me to join in, and sort of he kind of pushed me to learn to play the game on GIMP, and so I had a bit of time last year, and so I played some games. I learned somewhat a few of the complexities of the game.
Yep. Yep.
I'm not by any means an expert. I'm still baffled by a lot of things, but through that I started playing. I've been playing in the Retro League. I played in the Premier to Death Star 2 branch of that, and I'm currently playing in the classic Novi branch, or the
Yep.
episode of the
Yep.
Retro League. So that's my background, such as it is. My background in terms of games is I've played a lot of board games, but this is actually the first time I've played a collectible card game in any sustained way. I'm not really a collector by instinct. So actually, Star Wars CCG is pretty good for me because GIMP has all the cards. You don't have to worry about the physical
100%.
objects. And yeah, I really admire, especially given that it's a free voluntary system. I really admire the especially the technical expertise, but also the passion of the community in keeping this going. It's really really interesting to learn about that.
No, I 100% agree with you. And no, the modern, it's fun to be able to enjoy kind of classic games. And I guess for me, it's re-enjoy because I played it when I was a kid. I
Yeah.
moved away, from my friends. I gave away all my cards. I remember I sold my Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight for $100, and now it's like $300 ish. So it depends how highly graded. So actually, it actually kept up, not a bad trade back then. But no, it's fun to rediscover for me. Um, and obviously, you're right. You can just play the game, and money is not the factor here. I agree, and I'm very grateful to everyone who's done it. You told me something, kind of got the emails. You said perspective as a new player. So yes, you've
Mhm.
played since, maybe last year to some extent.
Yeah.
What kind of perspective does this give you? Because I guess you had to learn on GIMP exclusively. Like, were you one of those people who's like, would you please play with me? Did your Mon Calamari buddies help you learn, or how did that process work for you?
Yeah, I a lot of it was Chris coaching me. I played a lot of practice games with him, and then other games, yeah, with people on the Mon Calamari League. I I think when I first started, I sat down and read the rule book, and then sort of read the advanced rule book over a longer period of time. That didn't really, I mean, it helped in a sense. It didn't
Yeah.
really help in terms of actually learning the game. One of the things that was most frustrating for me initially was that the experience of playing a game is so different from how the rules are presented in in the rule book. I think it's quite a there's a sense in which the cards are all an extension of the rule book. It's actually quite confusing to try and deal with the all the different text on the cards referencing other cards. It's sort of these cascades of a card that references another card that references another card, and it's actually really interesting as a kind of to think about what this looked like at the time for people playing a game. It gives you a little picture of what was going on with the evolving game back in the 90s. It is really frustrating to try and learn, probably as a returning player as well, but especially as a new player. I think the thing that kept me going, aside from the interest in playing with friends,
Right.
was that the the depth of the game wasn't just about the complexity. And the complexity was sort of frustrating at times, but the depth was also in seeing how people move around the the board that you create.
Yeah.
When I play people, when I watch games now, how people move their characters, ships, and other resources around is always really fascinating to me because that people do things I don't see when I'm playing myself. Yeah, and I got kind of sucked into playing it in spite of some initial frustrations.
Yes.
It's probably not really a game for new players. It's not really it's kind of a that isn't the core audience. Um, but it is a really really interesting game. um, even just the little slice of it that I have played, I've 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 really enjoyed getting to know a little bit about it.
And for you, like, I mean, like, there's complexity, and there's complexity for complexity, like just endless rules. But are you saying like there's a purpose to some of this complexity? Like, there's actually some strategy in there.
Yeah.
There's like some gems. Like, help me like understand that a little bit more.
Oh yeah. I think especially. So I've sort of mixed feelings because
Okay.
I also I played a lot of board games, which are often more elegant than this. I
Okay.
think the cost of this is the accumulation of little things with unintended consequences. And I think for me, as someone who is well, let's say I think like anyone playing this, the Star Wars theme's obviously important.
Sure.
I am more bothered by things that seem to be really out of theme than some people are. Like I prefer things to be at least a little bit thematic rather than purely gamey, if that makes sense. I think the most successful parts of the game to me are the ones which unite a clever game mechanic with the theme of the stories from Star Wars. I think that decks which are more um, I'm trying to think of an example, like something like the kind of unintended mechanics that Brangus Glee creates.
Oh,
I
Brangus
I
Glee. Yes.
sort of
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Yes.
I get why it's good, but I can't really appreciate it because it's like it doesn't really
Y-
make any sense in terms of the narrative or the world. And I like
What,
decks
yeah,
which
why is Brangus Glee? Why is this random alien on the Death Star so important? And why is he at the Death Star? And why is he gambling all the time? And what? I got
and
you. Yes.
I think for me that's a bit of a barrier. That's a bit of a sticking point. Although obviously if you want to win, there's always this kind of this push and pull between finding something that's effective and finding something that works with your sense
Sure.
of what you want to play,
I,
which I think
I,
it's pretty interesting for this.
I would tend to agree. Things like Brangus, things like numbers, or things like speeders, or things like
I think like my mind is on classic Novi at the moment. Um, so I think I have a little bit of trouble getting my head around what your step is
watch your
supposed to
step.
represent
Yes.
in
Yes.
terms of like I sort of get it. Like it's smugglers and smugglers. I guess they're smuggling the interrupts somehow, but it
I,
doesn't quite work for me.
okay. I guess when I think watch your step, I think Han Solo from the first movie. It's just this,
Yeah,
independent badass guy, and he shoots Greedo, and he gets away from by the skin of his teeth. And to me, that's the interrupts. It's all the shenanigans that characters of plot armor have. That's kind of how I see
yeah,
it.
that's a nice that is a nice way of thinking about it, and I think yeah that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting because people talk about Star Wars, and a lot of people kind of like Star Wars, and because they like Star Wars, they learn about the cards and they got to the game.
Yeah.
For me, it was kind of the opposite way. Like, I mean, I grew up
Oh,
with
okay.
more Star Trek in my household.
Yeah.
My friends liked the Star Wars, but when I played the game and I read the cards and I saw the lore, it may want to, because we had Tarkin, and Tarkin says, plotted to use the Death Star against the Emperor. It's like, he did? Really? I want to look those things up. Now, later in life, I know that Decipher just made lore up, right? It's not. Some of it was based off of some of the expanded universe lore at the time. Some of it wasn't, but they actually contribute to it. But to me, I kind of like the lore of the cards helped me appreciate Star Wars more. Ironically, for me,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
That's actually really cool, and it makes a lot of sense. I think the and the kind of inclusion of some of the like the beginnings of the novels in the decipher cards is actually really interesting. I really liked the Timothy Zahn novels in particular, probably when I was a teenager. So for me, that those formed my sense of a lot of the characters as much as the movies, or kind of in concert with the movies. So it's interesting seeing that stuff come up in the game.
Right. Okay. So you like okay. So anyway, so you like thematic things. You like when the card mechanics kind of represent the movie thing. So does that mean that you like Bring Them Before Me? Does that mean you like carbon chamber testing, or what does that mean for
Yeah,
you?
I like. So this is sort of complicated, and it kind of does point towards the decks I sent you. Um, I also like good guys. I don't like the. I don't want to play as the Empire. There's a sense in which the Empire just seems it's an evil empire. I'm a historian. I study historical empires. Um, I don't necessarily want to be this kind of brutal, grinding, evil bureaucracy
Yes.
that's destroying planets and crushing people beneath their heel, and in the process not really having fun. I mean, the Empire, at least in the movies, is not like maybe there are dark side characters, I guess. Like Jabba's having fun, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you're working for Darth Vader, you're not. That's not a very that is an uncomfortable reflection of the worst aspects of modern work that I don't necessarily want to um, play in a game.
Okay.
So I like there are certain things a lot of kind of figuring out how to play this game has been figuring out what dark side decks I actually enjoy playing,
Okay. All right.
but also work thematically, which is a bit of a problem.
Okay. Um, so and what for so and you started out learning you did the sealed format you said and you went from sealed to the kind of
Well,
constructed or what?
I started just playing classic Novi.
Really? Back
Um,
then too. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I think because that's what I think that was. This was in the aftermath of I think the charity tournament last year, which was Classic Novi. So
Right.
that was the stuff that was most recently available in terms of you're watching the finals games from that series. And so yeah, I think when I started playing, that's what Chris started me out on learning. So actually, the first couple of decks I played, I think, were sample decks of Classic Novi from GIMP.
Okay. Okay. And so I guess so it's 2025, it's 1 year later.
Yeah,
Do you and you join the retro league at least for the last few
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Are you still enjoying the game? Are you obviously you're still in the retro league? You haven't quit, obviously yet, So do you see yourself playing more? Do you see this, kind of like maybe
Yeah.
for a little while longer? Good.
It has kind of sucked me in partly. I wouldn't really be playing if not for friends playing.
Okay.
That's the starting point. But I was very shy about playing strangers on game. Most of the games I played before doing the league, almost all of the games I played before doing the league were with people I knew already.
Sure.
So the league was has been fun because it's given me a chance to, what sort of pushed me, I guess,
Yes.
to um, play with people I haven't met,
Yeah.
get to see some other people's ideas, approaches, and I actually really enjoyed the Premier to Death Star 2. I've enjoyed all of it so far.
Yeah.
Um, just kind of, yeah, just because it is exciting to have something to be playing competitively, I think, and
Sure.
it's fun to play people I haven't met necessarily.
I agree with you. It's fun to be challenged in certain ways. I mean, I've been creamed by a few people, but it's also, you're learning every time, so it's fun. I agree. Um,
Yeah.
you mentioned kind of clunky mechanics ish or clunky mechanics. So is it just that it's thematically it's weird to have things like Brangus or whatever, or you said like can you give me an example like mechanics that are clunky maybe?
Oh yeah.
Like I mean Brangus is effective, but I don't know if he's clunky or maybe it's the same for you or
Yeah.
mood swings.
Yeah. And actually, in certain ways, it's because it's so smooth that
Yeah.
it's. I think what I was thinking about more there is cards that, like, from what I've read and heard, there were sort of ups and downs with balance in the first few years of the game, and
Mm-hmm.
as a result, you've got these cards which are there to balance things out, to make
Yes.
things like um see, I've never played them, so
Well,
I can't even
there's scanning crew. There's
remember
multiple
these.
ways to kill scanning crew. There's multiple ways to
Yeah,
do numbers. In the beginning, there was sense and alter, and
yeah,
I don't think there were grabbers, right? New Hope added
yeah,
grabbers, but and then you get to Dega, but they added control, right? Which you can cancel sense and alter.
yeah,
But then then they had like a special edition. They added like oppressive enforcement slash a wise advice, so that if someone does cancel it, it still goes to your use pile. So like layers of protection and defenses, started building up. Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
Yes.
I think that is what I found very confusing at first. There's a card, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's a light side card. Or maybe it's dark side card. And there's probably both, which is just a list of things it cancels. And most of which, when I first encountered that card, I had never heard of. I think that sort of thing is pretty confusing,
Yeah.
especially when it's still relevant, especially when there is the one thing on there that it does cancel that you want to use.
Right. Like there's like Point Man. That's one of them. There's
Yes,
also
I think that may actually be what I'm thinking
yeah,
of. Yeah.
and there's Point Man. There's also when we share the screen, we can look at. There's also This Is Some Rescue. It's another meta card which cancels 50 mode. There's also It's a Hit. Also it's a light side card.
Yeah.
Cancel a bunch of dark side. Tarkin's Orders cancels a bunch of things. You're right. It's a very meta thing. And no, as a kid, I
Well,
don't know what they were talking about. I have no idea, but why would I use this? Who in the what? I don't understand.
it makes sense in context once you kind of unpack what must have been going on with that, but it is pretty confusing.
Yes. And you usually learn from the school of hard knocks. It's when you get beat by that
Yeah,
thing, then you're like, oh, that's why I need the counter card. Now that's why it's important. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well, maybe I should share my screen. We should start with the decks. Let's go there.
yeah. I think
Give me just a, I'll tell you when it's open. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, let's allow, and let's look at this. Okay, so let's go to GIMP. All right, so light side first, or you want to do GIMP?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And this is the deck of these two that I have actually played more than the other one.
right,
I've played this twice in the Classic Novi League.
right.
Um, Once very successfully and once very unsuccessfully. So it's
Well,
kind of a um, it's a my thinking behind this, my concept for this, which probably sounds like bad fan fiction, and is that it is. I wanted to, like a lot of people, I Admiral Akbar is kind of one of my favorite minor characters in Star Wars. So I wanted to make a deck where Admiral Akbar is, if not like central, then at least important to the deck.
yep,
Um, I also really like Cloud City as a setting, so it's probably my favorite um, location in Star Wars.
yeah,
Certainly from the core movies, just the aesthetics. It's kind of the way the plot kind of works, hinges around the events that happen in Cloud City. Um, so the bad fan fiction that's going on here is that Admiral Akbar decides that he wants to, he learns that the Empire has designs on Cloud City, and so he's doing a trap on the Empire. He's gonna lure them into a trap
nice.
and kind of smash the Imperial fleet by sucking them into Cloud City, which is it's a tenuous concept, but there is kind of a narrative. That's the narrative here.
That's cool.
And I actually started out playing Quiet Mining Colony. The first deck I played a lot with on the light side was adapted from, I can't remember the name of the person who played it for that. It was in the retro tournament, the Classic Movie retro tournament last year, and one of the top 8 finalists played a Quiet Mining Colony deck. So I initially played a deck that was kind of adapted from that. This is not adapted from that. This is something different. But I do have this kind of fondness for Quiet Mining Colony as a concept,
Yep,
even though it's probably not the best objective for either Classic Novi or Premier to Death Star. It gets better with Classic Novi because of the inclusion of keeping the Empire out forever, um,
right.
which
Oh,
is
where
somewhere
is?
there.
Uh,
But it's not. I just I kind of like I like Bespin. I
there it
like Quiet
is.
Mining
There it
Colony.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, correct. Yeah, this one makes it. Yeah, this card makes it better. I don't love that you need to sacrifice an effect for it, but I'm sure getting to search your force pile is good, and the fact it doesn't flip. So yeah, I mean, it definitely makes it better. There's no doubt about it, for sure. Yeah, cool.
So the concept here is you're sucking the Empire into committing in the system, and then you're kind of using Home One to overwhelm them.
Yeah. So yeah, I see. Yeah, you have and you're doing kind of a capital weapons version. So you have two
Yeah,
turbo
yeah,
laser batteries. So
yeah.
so that's cool.
And the rapid fire, I think, enables you to pull those out of either your deck or
Hand.
or the reserve deck, um, in order to kind of not have to pay the cost of force, which is pretty substantial for putting on Home One.
Correct. Yeah. No. It costs four force is a huge thing, and two to shoot. So no. And and do you think, obviously, you have the classic, on target, which is a really good card because being able to cancel their ability to draw Battle Destiny is huge. Um, did you in your games, did you find yourself using on target
I
and not
don't think
shooting,
I
or yeah,
I I think what the the first game where this really succeeded,
yeah,
Power Pivot was actually the decisive card. I didn't really expect that, but in the end, I think what happened in that game. I think I played Rapid Fire and it got grabbed.
hmm,
Um, but then that same round, I was able to play Power Pivot, which ended up being more decisive because I cancelled the power of a Victory Star Destroyer, I think, and
right,
it got a big overflow
yeah.
on that battle. So yeah, it has various tech in it which I haven't fully been able to use yet necessarily in practice.
And I understand, and obviously it's hard to get a ton of games in either. And I've done the same things. I've done like Star Destroyer, Tractor Beam decks, but I never get to actually Tractor Beam. So no, I get you there. Maybe so maybe talk people through kind of like how you typically start this game and how you would run
Yeah.
it, ideally in your mind.
So I think the challenge with this, which is probably a fairly common problem for putting together decks, is there are all these pieces you need to get in place, and in certain ways this would probably work better as a hidden base deck or as a throne room mains deck because I've kind of combined two things here which both require a bit of setup. One is Quiet Mining Colony, which you don't necessarily need to flip it soon with this, but it's nice to have the threat of flipping it.
Yep.
Um, and then there's also I want to get home one out. If you don't draw home one or launching the assault or soon, you're in or a signal to get launching the assault, you're in trouble. And that actually happened to me last week. It took me a few turns to get any home one related cards into my hand. And by that point, I was too far behind because Quiet Mining Colony isn't super fast in and of itself either. Um, so ideally, you get home one out as soon as possible. If you can get the command center out in order to the war room, yeah, in order to get a discount on a home one, that's even better. But probably want to get home one out on second or third turn is probably more realistic. Third or fourth turn, and then start sort of piling on the power to home one fairly judiciously because you don't want to just put the empire off deploying at all to Bespin, which is where I guess that my idea was that because of the benefits of Quiet Mining Colony, you're kind of forcing and especially Cloud City Celebration, you're forcing the empire to try and match you in Bespin. But it does require quite good timing and fairly judicious use of your turbo laser batteries and the pilots for home one to kind of make sure you don't overcommit or underpower it. One and obviously the advent of the Empire card, which enables them to deploy Executor for free to Bespin,
Yeah.
is is a it's both part of the trap because I kind of they must never again leave the city. If they get sucked into deploying Executor without enough backup, the idea of this is that it is capable of destroying Executor both in combat or with the card that enables you to shoot your weapons. Yeah, that one. Um, Out of combat.
Yeah.
It's you need a couple of gunners on there to make that effective. But so I kind of want to kind of draw the dark side into deploying a lot of space. Unfortunately, as I discovered last week, if they get an overwhelming advantage in space before you're able to deploy home one, that's a bit of a problem.
Yes, yes, no, it can be, and the fact that they can deploy Executor for free means you need to have all your pieces in place. So, um, no, I get you there. And so you're starting out with these three, right? These, insurrection, keep Empire forever, and then this insight serves you well. Staging area, is that what you're?
Or battle plan, depending on my read of what they're playing. Inside 6UL is probably better. I think I've used battle plan in at least one of my games.
Okay. Because most decks with or and I don't know most decks, but typically like they'll try to get staging areas out, and then they'll try to get a docking bay out,
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
um, a lot of these the Armand Calamari folks deploy cheaper
indeed.
to the docking bays. So
Yeah, yeah,
um, and then you kind of use that advantage to try to get a signal to eventually get a launch the
yeah.
assault or whatever. So I guess the question is, are you playing that way and slow, or are you just trying to say, I'm just going to deploy every which way to Cloud City and force you to deploy there, or how are you kind of managing that?
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're up against and what the opponent is doing. I think when I lost a game with this, I just got overwhelmed,
Yeah,
both in space and on the ground, by the speed of my opponent's deployment. Um, and I think the game I won, I also made a I guess there was a rule I did not understand, which is that I thought that you could just send characters down from ships to the sites in the system. I didn't realize you needed a docking bay. So I think the first version of this actually didn't have the Cloud City docking bay. And I put it in there in panic because I realized, oh, I can't move my characters around without the docking bay. It's actually probably not the end of the world. Luke is the one who needs to maybe be able to move backwards and forwards if you are doing that. And I've got run Luke. I mean, the other idea here, although I haven't succeeded in doing this, is using run Luke run to kind of again surprise the dark side player who might be going down to attack
yeah.
a seemingly weaker group of characters.
I think yeah, the issue is that these are all interior sites, and so you can't
Yeah.
you can't shuttle down directly from a capital ship to it.
Oh, okay.
That's yeah, that's why. So it's not that it's a docking base. So if you had something like Cloud City Plaza, right, downtown Plaza,
Yes,
that would
that would
be
be
fine, right? You could go down there because it's an exterior site, right? That's the issue.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that would be. See, I should have done my homework and read the advanced rulebook to clarify
Well,
that. It actually makes a lot of sense.
and it's ironic you mentioned that because to me the advanced rule book is really good for the esoteric, small, weird rules that you don't interact with all that often. But that's the reason. So no, I think exterior sites with run Luke run could work. What a lot of decks will do for the interior ones is they'll do something like Path of Least Resistance, and
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
and
looked at
and, and you use this card, and literally you can just move around. And it says the bottom says relocate one of your characters an interior mobile site to a related interior mobile site. So you can use this defensively, like you get a little weenie guy away, or you can use it offensively, like you could move Luke or Obi-Wan or whoever to a battle kind of thing. Um, so that's kind of what
yeah,
it typically
true.
do. The other alternative that some people do for interior ones, they'll do lift tubes. So
Yeah, I looked at that and got a bit confused, but actually it did look like it would be a good option, especially because it's high destiny um, cards.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, I think other options, but no, I like that. Intrinsically, you need to be mobile at Cloud City, which is kind of what you try to do. Run loop run. and of course I like the destinies. That's always great. That's always good there. Um, so were you afraid of dueling? Because you had, you have this like you have
Um,
three run loops run and you have a dual canceller too.
yeah, I think the context in which I've used this card is actually for the last bit where you lose Luke and a lightsaber and then you get him back into your hand, which isn't essential in this deck because it's got a lot of copies of Luke anyway.
Right.
But it has that is the only time I've played this card is to recover people. I think
What a lot of people do with this card is they will do it like with the attachments. So they'll do it like with Luke with lightsaber. That way,
yeah,
that way you get him and the thing. Because if you return Luke and he'll lose the lightsaber kind of thing, or they do like Obi
yeah,
Wan with lightsaber is what a lot of people do. Now, um, that's typically what I see here.
yeah. Obi-Wan would also make a lot with lightsaber would also make a lot of sense in this deck.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so. And I
fantastic.
mean, I like Mirax. Go ahead. Sorry, you were say something.
No, I think I had him in there at one point, and then somehow he dropped. But I was just looking for more fighter options, and it just didn't occur to me. It didn't occur to me at the time that he'd be the good option there.
Yeah, I think it could be. I think it could be, especially since he can fight and he can move and stuff. And yeah, you might die, but you have Cloud City Celebration, so I think could be good. But you have Mirax
Yeah,
here. Mirax is really good, so you have a lot of high destiny, so you can put those back in. I think that's really really good. And obviously you have Major Hashin for protection from lateral damage. Very important.
essentially. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it is essential. And it's funny when you look up lateral damage, like just in general, like it's funny how many times look at how many different cards, from open to whatever to like nowadays that try to protect against that one card. It's crazy, you know. It's just so good. So what can you say?
and the game I won with this, I would have lost if I hadn't specifically used Akbar to get Hushin, if that's the right to pronounce his name, um,
Yeah.
to protect against lateral damage, because that's the first thing that happened to me was lateral damage on home one
Oh yeah.
before a battle. I would have been, yeah, it would have
No,
been bad.
no doubt there. And I do like, and you have like the three classic gunners. This guy does two, also fires for less. It's important, and she does one, and Kin Kian does two, and then now you have
For
Wes. Go ahead.
yeah, it might be overkill. Yeah.
Well, no, well, it could be overkill, but what I don't understand is because like Wes adds three with Wedge, right? Wedge
Oh,
cancels a battle destiny. Corrin's a rogue squadron. He cancels the Corrin. He cancels
yeah.
with Carrie. She's rogue squadron. Kin Kian is rogue squadron. Like to me, I think you would want to try to fit in him just because he synergizes with
Yeah,
all of these guys. You know.
yeah. I think that's a very good point. Um, I think it took me a while to realize just how good Wedge is for a lot of things. In fact, it was actually more playing against people using him that helped me see his utility. And again, he's sort of a character. He's a minor character I quite like, so I should
He,
keep him
well,
in mind.
he's one of those weird characters. He's been in all three films. All three films he's been in. They're the second Death Star destruction. So for a relatively, I guess, minor character ish movie wise, he was big enough.
Pretty
What can I
good.
say? Yeah. Um. Yeah. Cool. No.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I don't really care about um, swapping him in for Milas would, Milas, I see why Milas is good. I put him in there.
Yeah.
Wait, is that right? Yeah, yeah. Um, but I have no affection for the character, so having Wedge in there would be a good option.
Yeah. No, I think so. No, I think no, I think if you can get this out and surprise people, I think it could be good. Not a ton of people kind of use Taylor, but in classic Novi, given there's so many
Yeah,
free executors. A lot of people play theirs, this deal is getting worse all the time. No, I think it makes sense. So maybe we should look at the first game and
Oh
see how
yeah.
you did. I have to refresh this again. Let's see.
I just note that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the second game which I lost, but
Okay, well then we'll do the first game. We'll do the one that you did well then.
yeah, that would look better.
All right, I'll do this. Let's try this one. Okay. So this one you're placing against ISB. Okay. All right. So you're starting with, so this game you're facing ISB. He shows you these three cards, and you're going for, okay, so you did battle plan this time, and
Yeah.
insurrection, and keeping up. So you opted not to do the other one. Okay. So yeah, walk us through like your thought process. So you're using balanced
Oh,
attack. You're trying to get a general or admiral.
that was the back bar straight away.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, my name for this deck is the Akbar maneuver, so I wanted Akbar in there, and you can see that I got like a really good opening hand with this. I got all the things I need, um, which was a surprise.
Okay. So you're deploying your sights. Okay. And you chose not to deploy this one
Yeah, I
because,
was wary about not putting too much out there because I was afraid that if they had more power in their hand, they could overwhelm me in Cloud City.
I mean, so it wasn't about being force strain, or just about like he could cancel your force strains, or what?
Um, I think I was worried that they'd get too much of a foothold in Cloud City early on in the game,
Okay.
that I'd
Just
have
from the
trouble.
okay, just from the one extra force.
Or from having too many sites out.
Okay.
And probably not that big a deal because I only need to occupy or control two.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to make sure they can't control too much.
Yeah.
Focus card opponent controls. Yeah, yeah. You want to make sure that, or one with Lando, right? Yeah,
It,
no
a- it
investment because
actually,
if they spread out too much, it's hard for you to
yeah,
prevent the. Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah. All right. So He's playing his things. He's playing Zuckus and Outer Rim Scout crew. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
And so you play the mobilization points card. You're playing Akbar to the War Room, and you get Major Hushin, and
yeah,
you go to battle straight away,
yeah,
or try to anyway. And then you put Akbar there, and you drew your card. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. I played weapon levitation to get it because I had a sense that maybe there was a turbo laser battery in my force pile.
Okay. So he retreats to home one, so he doesn't want to battle you there. Okay.
That surprised me. It makes perfect sense that you can do that, but it wasn't in my head that that was a possibility, which was it kind of has all these interesting consequences for the rest of the game.
Okay, so you played that from your deck and you power pivoted him. Nice. Well, that's gonna
Mhm.
hurt.
And this is really the decisive moment of the game that
Yeah, he's
he didn't.
losing what, 10 force there? Yeah. Ouch. Okay. Yep. So you battle him and he doesn't do attrition on you and he's losing guys. And you move. Why'd you move away? Why?
I'm not sure. I guess I was afraid of something nastier coming down there.
You only had two cards in hand, but maybe.
Whoops! I didn't think about that. And actually, moving away was bad because I think the Emperor is about to come down there,
I see.
which like, this creates a very strange story where the Emperor and eventually Vader kind of take over the interior of Home One, um, but it doesn't really do them much good in the long term.
Alright, so you're draining a little bit. Okay, that's good. Launching the assault, +1 drain now. That's good. Giving Luke back there. Okay.
Yeah, see that this is where I really admire the way that experienced players are able to know where to put their characters. And you can see here my hesitation and uncertainty about what to do with Luke. I was thinking of putting him down and this is where the interior sites kind of screwed me. That I was thinking of putting him down in Cloud City at this point,
Yeah,
but
but there's no, yeah, you can't, yeah, there's nowhere to put him. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, there's the Emperor. He lost one. Okay, yeah, he's putting all his. I don't think this is, to be fair. Okay, he's trying to spread out a little bit. Okay, fine. It's only a drain of two. It's still not very much. It doesn't help him flip his objective.
yeah, it was. I don't think that was. He kind of got trapped into committing to home one.
Well, and he did, and so actually, I mean, ironically, he deployed all his guys there. So,
Yeah,
I mean, ironically, the fact that you ran away also made him want to made
yeah,
him want to
yeah,
stay there more, which means he's not, disrupting you there. Ironically, okay, so you sent Luke back there. Of course, now he can start a battle with you, and now he can add one battle destiny. So that's not great, but
yeah. I didn't pick up on that when I didn't see that on the home one card, unfortunately.
yeah, okay.
But, but it doesn't work out that badly for me because I have a Luke in hand, um, so I could afford to lose Luke.
Yeah, so he replaces his Vader. Okay. Does two destiny. Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to lose Luke. That's 8, but you drew a 6. That's great. So he chooses to lose Vader.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. I'm not sure what.
Well, I guess he has to forfeit +1. That's not +2, so he had to. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, not bad for you.
Yeah, yeah. At this point, I can outrace him in terms of drains. There aren't any other planets, so at this point, I kind of knew that I was in good shape.
Yeah, you have Cloud City Celebration. He's draining you for 1. I mean, your retrieval cancels that, so absolutely, you can start draining more. Absolutely. Yep, you can start stacking your destinies. Yeah, you're in a good shape. Yeah, he over deployed in the wrong spot, and he's too
Yeah,
scared to move over there too. So okay, okay. So he flipped finally, and he just conceded. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And I had run Luke run, so if in the next turn I would have, if it'd been, I think what happened there was maybe um, because he was hoping to deploy an additional card there in the to fight Leia,
Well, he can't. He
but
can't fight Leia because of her text.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. Unless opponent's
oh
non-alien
yeah,
character here. Let's see
that
what
may
I.
have been that's probably why
Yeah,
he
because he deployed there. He didn't read her text, and I honestly really dislike the fact that Decipher would make a card like this. I mean, and it's supposed to be analogous to Darth Maul, right? So if you
oh I
look
haven't
up,
even looked at
yeah,
those
because
cards.
remember that this is Reflections 3. So you do Darth Maul, he had this ability here is like, unless opponent's character ability greater than 3 here, opponent's total ability here equals 0,
Oh,
right?
mhm.
But in classic Novi, they don't do the episode 1 characters, so the dark side doesn't benefit from that. So anyway, but yeah,
I see. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Yeah,
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, no, I mean she's a good card. I mean it's funny as soon as she's available, then Leia with blaster rifle goes out the window
yeah, yeah,
just because she can hose so many cards, and
yeah,
so what can you say? Cool.
yeah.
All right. Um, okay, well, if you failed at this deck, is there something we should learn from this deck? I mean, okay, you're fighting Johnny Chu.
Mm,
Johnny Chu's a good
yeah,
player.
and it was between the two of them. If you're opening hands, both like the big difference is opening hand. That if we just see my opening hand here,
Okay, so you have no extra
oh,
sites. You have Luke, Leia, and
great.
some other things. Okay, yeah, you're not getting a lot of
This
force
is,
here.
this is a problem with the deck that it is pretty vulnerable to this. A terrible hand is going to be a terrible hand, but it needs a lot of things to add up and to kind of
Okay, and
happen.
he's force choking you a little bit. He's making people cost more. Yeah. But I
Um,
think this is a great example because AOBS is a deck that likes to force choke you, right? Because if you
yeah,
look at what he's giving you 0 0 0 0. Okay, he's giving you one. Okay, he's giving you one icon. I think mobilization points would be good here. Probably, of course. Although I guess if he
yeah.
wants to drain you, man, that's not great.
That's really good point because I didn't understand Agents of Black Sun terribly well. Well, I still don't understand it terribly well. I think that was something I didn't see coming very well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I got busted by that deck a few times. There's no doubt. It's a mean deck if someone knows what they're doing.
It's also sort of baffling because I have no context for the characters. I never read those novels. I didn't. I think there's a video game. I just don't
Shadows of
know.
the Empire. Yes, 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 yes.
Uh,
Correct.
yeah.
Well, the really sad thing is, of course, like this site has nothing to do at all with She's Orbit. Whatever,
Oh,
whatever.
okay. Hmm.
Okay, so you're getting okay 12. Okay, you're getting some drains here, or you're getting some guys here. You're flipping back AOBS. That's good. I'm sure he has like 15 million cards to attack people or something. Okay, he wants to deploy
But,
there. Okay.
but you can see I still haven't drawn any signal, and I haven't drawn launching the assault. 3 turns in, so the kind of that core idea of the deck just hasn't been realized yet.
Okay. I mean, and one thing too,
Oh,
like insight serves you well can also grab launch into the assault. So
yeah, yeah, and this is another thing where it is a little bit frustrating is that the icons are really small, and I have a lot of
yes,
trouble identifying which ones mean which. And
yes,
I think if I'd collected the cards as a young person, it would be more intuitive. But it is actually kind of hard to cross reference which cards actually help with which things. But actually, yeah, yeah, that could have been I
potentially.
could
I
have
mean, I mean, you did have
could
like
have
what
said
four signals in your deck, but yeah, that's another way to get it.
yeah,
Okay, so he's gonna drain you now. Now that he doesn't have to pay for something, he can cancel your drains here. See, that's not great, but okay.
yeah,
And yeah, he can cancel immunity. So yeah,
yeah. And no, I wasn't like I knew that it could cancel immunity, but I forgot. Not that it would have helped one way or the other, but I always sort of forget that that is such a powerful thing for what's his name, Full yeah.
yeah, four lock, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay,
Oh,
you
there
get him
you can
back.
see.
Not bad.
Like,
Okay, so yeah,
but
he's.
yeah, at this point, I was running out of options,
I mean, you still
and the
have
drain.
30 cards in your main deck, just so you know. So yeah, that see at this point I would have
Yeah, yeah.
like right now between turns I would have dropped that to get home one. I think that would have helped you.
When you know that, yeah, yeah. On this launching assault, I drew into.
And
Or
you got rid of power pivot. That's like your bread and butter.
yeah, yeah. I don't quite know what I was thinking there. Um, oh, and
Yeah,
then I also didn't.
yeah, he did
Um,
presence of force of you. Yeah,
Product bar got whacked before he could do any tricks, so that was a problem.
yeah. Home one is in your deck. You get home one. You have Luke there. He barriers Luke. Okay.
Yeah,
You're gonna Hashin. Hashin's gonna battle. You're gonna battle him. Oh gosh. I think that was probably in hindsight. No, you're trying to prevent a drain or whatever. You didn't even. Yeah, I would have
yeah,
kept those guys. I think. I think you need them in space. I think.
yeah.
All right.
Well, and if I put them in the war room, I
Granted,
could
of
have.
course, now he's adding 3 battle destinies. So okay, yeah, it may not be great there. It's kind of locked you out there now.
Yeah, I think this is about where I concede.
Yeah. Yeah, he's adding battle destinies. Yeah.
I forgot that he had a weapon here as well.
Boba Fett. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I should have sacrificed Luke.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Okay,
running steam a little bit.
yeah. All right, live and learn. All
Yeah, no,
right.
and I think all the games I've lost, I've learned a lot. This is something where I'm getting older. It's nice to learn something new because it helps your brain get more flexible and all that. So it's been
Sure.
quite satisfying.
All right. So let's talk about the dark side that you don't like to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. So I've only played this at a test game, but during the Premier Death Star 2 tournament, I learned that I really enjoy dueling because it's sort of high stakes. It's not dueling is not unbalanced. It's not like ridiculously powerful because it's so risky.
Yes.
Um, but it's cool because it breaks the flow of the game because it enables you to do something outside of when you can normally do it. So
Right.
this deck is kind of doubling down on that by also including, on the one hand, dueling, on the other hand, Talon roll, which is also has a lot of counters. It's not enormously. I don't know. I haven't really played this enough to know how well it works. But yeah, this is kind of going back to that problem I mentioned earlier of having difficulty enjoying dark side decks. That I enjoy dueling. I feel like this is what is interesting about the Star Wars story to me. There are these sort of clashes between individuals where there's a lot at stake in one moment, um, whether that's duels in space or duels on ground. So this is a my name for this is dogfights and duels. So it's trying to do both of those things, and
No, I
it's in
like the
Cloud City.
concept. No, I like the concept, and I don't think people are expecting focused attack and circles not completed, Vader's obsession on this kind of package. So I like the surprise factor. So yeah, because traditionally we expect dueling on the hunt down package, but you're not doing that here. So I do think that is cool. Um, and I know teacher he has like a dueling platform out of like
I saw
Corval
that.
gangster. Um,
Yeah, that was really interesting.
yeah. So
So partly inspired by seeing that was one of the
really, so
things.
you were inspired by teachers dueling on Tatooine deck, huh?
Yeah, I didn't watch your video of it. I'm afraid, but I saw that it was in that list. I was like, oh, that's different. It's dueling. I like dueling. I'm going to look at it, and so I did. But um, untested concept, largely untested concept.
Okay. All right. Well, for untested content or mostly untested content, what's your general plan? So what are you kind of starting with and
Yeah. So again, I think the plan is getting Executor out there in Cloud City to set up power on the table. Initially, I didn't put Executor in here because I thought, okay, I'm gonna go with the whatever the Dark Side Squadron Assignments one is. I can't remember what it's called. Um, I can't even see it here. I hope it's there.
what card are you looking for? Does what?
The dark side equivalent is I see it. It's yeah of squadron assignments. The
Yeah.
one where you deploy
Yeah,
the
yeah, combat
payload.
response. Yeah.
Yeah, combat. Yeah. Um, so you want to get you want to get those fighters ready so that they can start dogfighting. But it seemed like my first version didn't have the executor in it, but it seems like such a waste to be deploying Bespin, but not be deploying, not be getting the free 15 power
Yeah.
starship.
Well, 12
Um,
power, but yeah, no, I agree. No, and
yeah,
executor is hard to deal with. You need a lot of
the,
cards to take down the executor. So absolutely. No, I agree.
and the thing about the Steelers getting worse all the time is that it's not as good as Quiet Mining Colony, and it doesn't enable you to draw to. I mean, its reverse side isn't that good, so you don't need to flip it. I think,
Agreed.
um, but the whole setup just is kind of convoluted. So you have to get out there's the card which enables you to draw a couple of Cloud City sites. So I've got that in there.
Yeah,
It's
as
above
well.
weapon
Yeah,
competition. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
I, I like this because I like the conflict that Lando goes through. He's another interesting character whom I like. The kind of you get to see a character who's torn between the light side and the dark side for good reason. So the concept of all these cards is cool. The story behind all these cards is cool, but you need to kind of get all of them in your deck, and you need to, or in your hand, and you need to set it up. So there's a lot of, so I guess the duels and dogfights thing is a way to make all that setup less important to a Cloud City deck.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it was thematic part of Empire Strikes Back. So no, I agree. I like it. Yep.
So you want to get the light side to commit either to having fighters in space in Cloud City or Bespin, um, or to get, or do you want to see Luke or Obi-Wan go down so you can duel them? So it's a fairly simple trap, perhaps not very subtle trap. Or I mean, it's an unexpected trap. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but that was
No,
that
I
was
mean,
my
I appreciate the fact that you're trying to use Dark Deal. Dark Deal is typically hard to actually get down. You need a lot of presence. So if you can do that, I think that's great.
I think the threat of it is maybe more important than the reality. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not sure you're gonna be able to get it down
yeah,
90% of the time.
yeah.
But if they're worried about it, then
You're right.
you want them to
They have to deploy and maybe deploy when not completely ready, and you can take advantage of that. I like that. I like that thinking.
that's the idea. Yeah.
That's cool. Six Dark Maneuvers Talon Roll. So I mean, I love the fact that in all your learnings, since last year, you know that high destinies are nice. You know that red
Yeah.
cards are like you need them. You need high destiny red cards. You can't have too many kind of low destiny characters. So I appreciate that from your decks.
Yeah. And I like, I've tried um, destiny tracking, and it's not something my brain is instinctively very good at. So it's not something I want to rely on. So having lots of high destinies is yeah. And again, that's where the synergy here between Talon Roll and dueling
Oh yeah,
seems to be
you're right.
a
You're
appeal.
right. You're right. You need high destinies for Talon Roll, and you need high destinies for dueling. Good point. Excellent point. I didn't think about that. True.
The problem is if Wedge comes down with this fighter, that like Talon Roll is actively bad for you. So I think Wedge is the solution to this in space at least.
Well, Wedge, he adds +6 on his ship. So if you look at Red Squadron, if we did this one, it's he adds 6. Now it's Gold Squadron that's just flat out,
Yeah, it's just yeah,
just flat out,
that would
flat out there. But see, it's interesting to me. You don't have mobilization points here. No, you do have mobilization points here. You don't. Oh, but you're using a grab executor. That's why.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think even if you lateral damaged, if someone puts that, if Lightside gives you a system, you have lateral damage here. You just can't
yeah.
use it by yourself. The Lightside has to give you a
That's
system. Yeah. You lateral damage, Wedge's ship, and that will certainly make it easier, even if it gets +6.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a really good point.
Yeah. I
Right,
think so.
right. So
Yeah.
I'm technically going to play a game with this on Thursday. So any ideas?
All right. Well, I wish you well. I wish you success in your dueling and dogfights.
And again, the kind of some of the biggest thrills I've had playing this game have been duels. Win or lose, it's just something I've really enjoyed.
Hmm. I almost wonder if it'd be worth putting Epic Duel in here. I mean, you'd have to draw it. You wouldn't want to
Yeah,
do it,
I thought about that. I thought about that.
But it's interesting to me, like like the one thing about Dark Deal, like I mean, like this objective, like literally, does all too easy. You don't
Yeah,
usually
yeah,
only in classic No V is it like kind of like you can actually get, the carbonite chamber, plus other
yeah.
things,
I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
it's yeah. Mm.
have you thought about, I mean, I like Choke Vader. I mean, if you think about like Vader with lightsaber, just so that he has a better dueling chance,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I feel like there was a reason. I think the reason I went with the Dark Lord one is just because he's immune to, wait,
Attrition.
no, but he's also um the light side card that makes main characters more expensive.
Um,
The this deal is getting worse all the time protects that Vader from it. I think that was my,
well, I
yeah,
mean, you have uncontrollable fury, and the issue is
yeah,
that it's only Lord Vader that's immune to this. So that's the
yeah.
only.
No, but if you look at this deal is getting worse all the time, it does.
Oh, your characters are immune to Gunite when deploying to Bespin locations.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay, I got what you're saying.
I don't know if that's worth. I mean, Darth Vader with lightsaber would be a more elegant or a more streamlined way of doing this, because then you wouldn't have to put the lightsaber in there.
I mean, I
It's
guess the
probably
issue is that you're not you. I guess the issue is you're not using a typical Epic Duel package. So maybe I need to take a
yeah,
step back here. So
yeah,
Epic Duel cares if you have a lightsaber, right? This is add one to each
yeah,
just and draw if using a lightsaber. If you're just using Vader's obsession, it's like, just add power. Um,
yeah.
I guess it doesn't terribly matter if it's a lightsaber with them or not in this version.
I
Same
think
with
it
this one here. So, yeah.
would. I'm gonna think about that because I do like Epic Duel. I do, and both as a card and as a concept.
You would definitely surprise people if you pulled out an epic duel. I'll tell you that. They would not expect epic duel in non-hunt down. That's for sure. So that's all I'll say. So they might, the only advantage I can say is if you could get epic duel and your dueling card, then you might be able to kind of, go through. Maybe. Of course, maybe we could blow up in your face. I don't know. Hopefully it works, but it'd be cool to see. All right.
But if it does, then light side wins, and that's a good outcome too. Because good guys should.
Cool. All right. So any other final thoughts? I mean, I see you have the interceptors here, but
Yeah.
just a note here that only tie LNs can use Talon roll. These are not tie LNs. The interceptors cannot Talon roll.
Oops, that does change the concept of the deck somewhat. I better
Yeah, I think
LN.
I think if you want that, you kind of want to maybe go for the scythe like
Yeah.
scythe one and scythe three or whatever, and you do.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
thank you for.
Hevsley in the end, because these are the cards which use this card typically, um,
Yeah, yeah.
and they shoot from space, and they can kill you via this thing. They can kill you via Talon roll. Although I think these are probably somewhat redundant. Although you can use this anytime, so it's not. I guess that's the advantage of this one.
Oh, thank you for pointing it out because that is I would have been puzzled had I run into that
Yes,
in a game.
for sure. No problem, sir. Absolutely. Cool.
Cool.
All right. So, well, that was neat. Thank you for the deck techs. Any other final thoughts, words, advice for people getting into Star Wars CCG or anything else
Oh
you
no,
wish to impart?
thank you for having me, and thank you to Chris and the Mon Calamari guys for being patient with me and teaching me about and I've had a lot of fun with this. So I don't know if I have advice as such, but I just it's been it's been good.
So glad. All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Toby. /Rover. Been a pleasure, and I will see you around, sir. Take care.
Yeah, have a good evening.